Never deal with a tyrant. I apologize if I sound kind of sick in this video. I've been out in the woods in the cold for a few days, taking care of some things, learning about myself, and I seem to have picked up a slight cold out there. But this video, never deal with a tyrant. This has been echoing in my head a lot lately. Is this word tyrant? And I remember as a kid, something my dad always told me. And me and my dad never really talked about much, but I don't know why he told me this. But it always stuck with me. He said, one thing I hate is a tyrant, right? My dad said, one thing I hate is a tyrant, never be a tyrant. And if you don't know what a tyrant is, basically a tyrant is like an oppressor, someone who enjoys, dominating people and putting them in sort of a slave-like position, where they sort of own you and you're at their mercy, right? They've got you by the balls in one form or another. They keep you coming back to them or dealing with them out of force, not even out of really desire, right? So, never deal with a tyrant. But there are so many different kinds of tyrants. And the tyrant I'm talking about in today's video is... I'll pretend to be the tyrant so you get a better understanding of what I'm talking about, right? Let's pretend you come to me, right? And you have a problem, and, you're like, hey man, Itachi, if I buy your program or if I hire you for a consulting session, can you help me deal with this problem? Can you give me advice for this problem? And I say, yeah, sure, absolutely. Just pay up and then I'll give you whatever you want, right? I make you a big promise that I'm going to just give you whatever you want if you pay me. And so then you do pay me. And you're all excited. You're like, oh, this program has come out, or oh, I'm excited to speak with him, and he's going to give me all these answers I need. And then when we finally talk, or you finally buy my program or whatever, I really don't answer anything that I told you I was going to answer. Instead, I make you even bigger promises than I did the first time to keep you chasing even more so you can buy something else from me. Or I give you a little sprinkle of the truth you need, but I don't give you the whole big picture. I don't tell you how to go out there and use it for your own gain or to build your own future. I just give you just enough crumbs to keep you coming back, right? So I can keep charging you and milking you over time. And making ridiculous amounts of money off you, and just making you promises, and before you know it, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years has gone by, and you still haven't really learned much, but you're significantly poorer than you were before. There are so many people who do stuff like this, and the tricky part about it is that some of them actually do have the information you want, but they're never going to give it to you, not even because they're not allowed to, because there are rare circumstances where, look, something is just forbidden to talk about unless you're in a very certain group of people. There is some truth to that, but it gets dramatically over. What's the word I'm looking for? There's an over the top facade that so much cannot be said that actually can be said in order to just keep milking people and pimping people. And that's something I've always been against. If someone comes to me, I'm going to answer their question to the absolute best of my ability. I will give life examples like I always do. I'm not interested in creating a situation where you are so dependent on me, where you keep coming to me and I own you, and I'll never let you surpass me mentally. I will never give you the advice you really need to liberate yourself, That's never been the way I do things. If any of you outgrow me one day, this is something I was talking about with my godfather the other day. He was like, I hope you surpass me. I hope you learn more than me. I hope you take things to a higher level than I was able to. And when he told me that, I was like, thank you so much. Like that is exactly what I needed to hear. That created so much more trust in him on my end when he was like, I want you to be better than me, If you're dealing with someone and you can sense that they don't want you to be better than them, or they want to use you as a pawn, or even if they have the information you want, you have to walk away from them, because you're trading one pimp for another. You know, it's like, okay, okay, so let's pretend you go to the hospital and you need the cure for cancer, right? Or you need the cure for, I don't know, arthritis or something, right? Which is a easy condition to get rid of. But let's pretend you go to the hospital. All they do is they give you pills. They don't give you the treatment, the cure for arthritis, not the treatment, but the cure. They just keep selling you pills, and then you get more and more sick, and then you still have arthritis. But then you come to me, right? Now you know that I know the cure for arthritis. You just know it deep down, right? But I keep promising it to you, but I never really deliver it. I say, oh, it can't be told at this time. Oh, I give you a piece of it. And I'm charging you the same way the hospital charges you, and yet you still have this problem. I'm no better than them. Just because I have the answer you're looking for doesn't mean I'm going to give it to you, right? So you're paying for something because you know I have it, but I'm not giving it to you. So if I'm fucking you the same way this other group of people is, then I'm no better than them, right? If you go to a spiritualist or a mentor or even, I don't know, even if it's the dating thing, like a pickup artist or whatever, and they cannot really give you the answer you need, and your life is no better after dealing with them, then they're no better than the people you ran away from initially, you know? If someone's going to withhold information from you and try to sort of just, you know, milk you, that's not someone you want to deal with, even if they have the answers you want. And that's a form of being a tyrant. That's a form of being an oppressor. When you know you have something that people want, but you're going to... Because here's the thing, right? Going to tough lengths to get information sometimes is necessary for your development and your growth. But if you really dive inward and you can feel when someone is just holding back on you just to milk you, that's when you have a problem. That's when you need to literally stop dealing with this kind of person, regardless of what you think they know. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Damn, I had another point to make. It just escaped me. Oh, there it is. Another thing, another way you can tell if you're dealing with a tyrant, or even if you're not in the tyrant position with them yet, if you watch a video from someone and it sounds really grandiose, it sounds really amazing, but at the end of the video, you feel more tired than you were and more confused than you were before you watched the video. You don't really feel like you got that direct answer you wanted. You're just kind of like more confused, and you feel like you've been made a new promise that's going to keep you going, but it's not really what you wanted, and somehow you're going to have to keep paying to keep moving forward. That's a pretty big indicator most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time, that you are... you're in a situation where this person is just going to keep having you chase that carrot on the stick, and never really give you what you want, because they need you to be attached to them. And this goes, you know, as far as with tyrants, this goes even deeper than money, man. This can be someone who emotionally wants you to keep investing in them. I mean, we can use, you know, the average American woman as an example, where, you know, it's a sort of tyranny where they want you to keep feeding them emotional attention and satisfaction and gratification without really giving you anything you want. You know, people you look up to play that same game that maybe women play, where it's like they dangle sex in front of you, but they never give it to you, and before you know it, you took her on 20 dates, or you gave her a shitload of attention. People do this in every field. I'm starting to realize that it doesn't matter what field you're in. For the most part, the game is the game. You know, the game is the game, no matter where you go. It's mostly liars and scammers and pieces of shit. And if you're lucky, every now and then you find 1 or 2 or 3 genuine people that really actually just want to see you move forward. And of course you pay them for their services, but at the end of the day, when you're ready to part ways, they just want to see you, you know, rise and do good, and they feel like they've made their contribution. But most people aren't like that. Most people want complete power, complete control, complete domination. And they are just tyrants. And you can't deal with a tyrant without losing much more of yourself and of everything you have than you initially wanted to get it. And not even in a way that's going to help you grow, but just in a way that's going to tax you and weigh you down and leave you a drained, tired version of the person you were before. And there's so many ways to do this. There's so many subliminal ways to do this, to suck the energy out of people. There's so many ways to go about this. And like, I've seen shit that's really like raised my eyebrows, and I contemplate sometimes if I want to just, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to use other people's names. I'm not the kind of person that likes to blast people and just expose the fuck out of them. I do it in my mind, and I know how to navigate and protect myself, but it's like, it's not me. I'm not the guy who just spends his time exposing people. But some of the things I see really do make my stomach, twist. It's just unnecessary, man. It's just really evil shit, honestly. It's really evil shit. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'm thinking of so many actual examples that I would love to just blast the fuck out of, but I'm not. It's just not me, bro. It's just not me. And I move in silence anyway. I don't make my intentions known to my enemies. And neither should you. But never deal with a tyrant, man. That's all I can really say about that. If you feel like when you're dealing with anyone that you're losing more, you're just losing much more than you're receiving, and it doesn't really feel like it's for your development. You feel it coming from a selfish place, right? A lot of the time, we have to just use intuition and feeling. A lot of the time, we don't have all the concrete evidence we need. We have to just rely on our gut instinct to feel out if we're being played, right? You need to learn how to develop that and rely on that, and listen to that. Just because you know it and you have it, you have to listen to it too. You can't push it down and deny it, because most of the time you are right when you are, and forget about word of mouth. See for yourself, and if your gut instinct is telling you not to deal with this person, most of the time you're right. Unfortunately, in every industry, most people are parasites. Straight up, man. Straight up. In every industry, in every field, in every profession, in every facet of life, most people are parasites, and if you're lucky, every now and then you find one genuine person that actually wants to see you move forward. But that's just something my dad told me when I was a kid. He said, one thing I hate is a tyrant, and that always stuck with me. No one has the right to oppress you. No one has the right to own you and keep you in a vulnerable position, or try to blackmail you, or try to mentally manipulate you, or subliminally control you. No one has the right to do that. And if you're even suspicious that you're in that situation, you need to really dive deep inside and feel out the situation. And more times than not, you will need to walk away from that relationship.